So this is our breakfast. I'm having asparagus, zucchini, and shiitake mushrooms, and then a Granny Smith apple with some blackberries. And James is having an omelet, and then the veggies, and a bit of dosa just to try it, and golden berries and blackberries for dessert. And I wanted to mention I didn't have time to package all of the seeds, but if like I think I had some Hubbard squash at the what do you call it, seed swap, but I hadn't packaged the acorn squash yet. But if you happen to see me around town or whatever and you want some acorn squash seeds, I will have some in my pocket, and I will also have golden berries. So if you need some of those, then I can always give you some of those. So I'll try to keep some seeds in my pocket for if anybody wants some. So I'm going to be talking about the first disc of this eventually. Just set that aside and hope I remember it. But before that, I'm going to talk about a couple of these things. So I got this from the Granham Public Library, and I didn't actually enjoy it. But what I did enjoy was the fact that they value their books. They have a little card in here that says, "Please handle this book with care. It may not be replaced. Enjoy it. Leave this card for the future readers. Thank you, Granham Public Library." So I just left it right where they put it, and I really like that they value their books. It's a shame that so many libraries are literally throwing their books in the dumpster. Our public library did that, and there were a bunch of us that found the dumpster full of books, and I wasn't there right away, but I got right in the dumpster, I have to say, to try to get as many of those things out, and they were covered with garbage, so some of them had like pop all over them and stuff. But we tried to dry some of them out and save them. Anyway, and apparently the one person who worked there, he said, well, we were giving it to a school so that they could rip the books apart and take them to the recyclers, because apparently you can't recycle the binding, and then the school didn't want them anymore. So, and it's like, wow, books just being thrown away, just landfill. It's just horrific. And I mean, they were awesome books. The books that we got out of the dumpster were reference books. Nobody had even had the option of borrowing them out of the library, and they were great. Some of them were on like Native American languages and stuff like that. It's like, that's not going to go out of date. Anyway, it was really disturbing for us. We didn't enjoy seeing a dumpster full of books. And anyway, and James is saying he's finding books, discards from all over. So I'm glad to see that Granham at least appreciates their books. And I wish that our library would have donated their books to one of the satellite branches, one of the other, like, how the library system works in Alberta now. We're part of a consortium of other libraries, so I can get things from Cardston. They're a part of our, without having to do interlibrary loan, I can borrow things from Cardston if I want to. Now, other libraries, smaller libraries, probably would have been really grateful to have a bunch of Native American language books, or whatever. There were a whole bunch of different books there. Anyway, I was more interested in the books on like bats and stuff like that. But I mean, I really value books. You may have noticed. So anyway, I borrowed this one, The Stars Within You, A Modern Guide to Astrology by Juliana McCarthy. And honestly, I didn't care for it, even though it has a little blurb by Cat Power in the back, or just but I'll tell you why I didn't enjoy it. I'm going to try to find, I should have marked it. But, well, I can read you my moon and stuff if you want. Nothing, I'm trying to find. There we go. There's my moon. You can go ahead and eat. My son, the most sensitive and emotional of all signs. It says, enlightened, I'm the nurturer, the sensitive. Neurotic, I'm the moper, the grouch. And I'm both of those things. Most sensitive, emotional of all signs. Cancer, the crab, is a feeler and a psychic. When she enters a room, she can feel what everyone else is feeling. Easily overwhelmed, she retreats into her shell, pulling out her pinchers and unleashing her powerful moods. The journey for the sun in Cancer is to learn how to protect her sensitivity so she can use it as a gift, extending her penetrating compassion to others as the nurturing universal mother. Cancer must develop tremendous self-awareness. Then when her feelings consume her, she can recognize them and gently return to her center. As she masters this work, she accomplishes important work for all of us, feeling the depths of human existence, relinquishing barriers between ourselves and others, and demonstrating a continual return to love, acceptance, and trust. Cancer gifts. Cancer is wonderfully imaginative and perceptive, frequently turning inward to her rich, magical world of daydreams. She's a wonderful hostess who loves to invite friends to her house to nurture them in her favorite manner, cooking and caretaking. She creates a sense of hospitality and safety that envelops her guests like a warm bath. Afterward, they return to their own houses with beautiful lessons on how to create feelings of home and comfort, both physically and within themselves. Cancerians can dive into your emotions, feel them with you, and cuddle and love you, no matter your state of mind. They can softly mirror your own depth while melting into your being. In this way, Cancers are devotional. They love their friends and family deeply and naturally, extending maternal kindness and support without hesitation. Possessing inherent strengths, Cancer often demonstrates a quality of toughness which manifests as a shell that protects her vulnerability. She can accomplish much of in the world by allowing her intuition, heart, and apt perception to guide her. This is Cancer at her best, guard down, surrendering herself to gravity and chance, fearlessly exposing her eternal love for all humans. Cancer struggles. To be balanced, Cancer crab must be willing to come out of her shell, release the security of her tough exterior, and reveal her soft and nurturing essence. She must learn to feel the cruelty of the human heart while remaining open, loving all aspects of humanity, beginning with herself. Otherwise, a triggered Cancer can be moody, sharp, and indirect. If Cancer does not feel safe, she can become hardened, even engaging in her own acts of cruelty because she has closed her heart, hiding behind her shell and pinchers. If loving and supportive people are not surrounding her, she could take on the savagery of others, losing the courage to be vulnerable. It is vital for Cancer to master human emotion, both her own and others. She must learn to psychically protect herself so she can walk into the world with her innate sensitivity while remaining kind and genuine. If she does, she becomes the world's mother, ever compassionate, loving, and forgiving of all human atrocities. She can understand people like no other, seeing to the core with their X-ray vision. If she chooses to reveal herself, rather than hiding behind her mask, she can become the ultimate symbol of universal love and compassion. This is Cancer's true nature. Moon in Capricorn. Emotional nature, conservative, virtuous, serious, reserved. Sources of contentment, music, family, comedy, networking. Moon in Capricorn generates a conservative, dependable, and reserved emotional nature, controlling their emotions. Capricorn moons avoid public displays of passion or inappropriateness. They are unlikely to explode or lose their cool in front of others. However, they must work hard to soften their hearts, releasing repression and feeling the full spectrum of emotion without judgment. Dutiful and family-oriented, Capricorn moons work hard to create security. They yearn to be integral parts of society, ambitious, dignified, and socially respected, sensitive to timing. Music and comedy could be helpful outlets for their emotional expression. Capricorn moons have huge hearts, and they must find healthy outlets for their serious, responsible side so it doesn't obstruct their openness and warmth. The key to contentment for Capricorn moons is allowing themselves to orient towards business and family, becoming successful, powerful, and driven, while at the same time working toward a more fluid emotional expression. They would do well in partnerships with water signs, who help to saturate their rigidness with watery nurturing, granting them permission to relax and feel their hearts. Capricorn moons are on a journey to learning that emotions are nothing to fear. If they can master this, they will become more balanced, composed, and self-sufficient, while also compassionate and true. And I wonder, about the doing well in partnerships with water signs. Well, my sun sign's a water sign, so that should be just fine. Maybe I'm good all on my own. I don't know. But I certainly seem to benefit from James, and he's not a water sign. But what I didn't like about and I should say there's other things in here, like your the outer planets and your the social planets, your ascendant. If you want to look that up, and it's actually easy to just look it up online. But anyway, but what you gather from what I've read is it's all she. There's no he. And so when I read James's, I was like, that doesn't seem quite right. And I had read, people make fun of me because I actually kind of believe this stuff. So anyway, I had read this book once that divided the signs between male and female. And I think it'd be even more fluid than that, right? Because there's it's now recognized there's more than two genders, really. But maybe you can find one between those two. But anyway, the book that I'd read before, it basically the moons or the sun signs of each sign for the different sexes of each sun sign. I'm tired. They have different traits. So it's like with us, when we got together, we were both like it said something about sexual stuff, and neither one of us would make the first move, and it was hilarious because we would like lay there in bed holding hands for like an hour. I don't know, nothing was happening because neither one of us. So I had to be the first move person more in our relationship, I think. Do you feel that?
Probably. I think you're more positive than
I don't know. But it was wonderful because we're always safe and loving. And who doesn't like to cuddle for an hour? It's good. Oh, now what I wanted to talk about was Ancient Civilizations of North America with Edward Barnhart.
this thing here.
I'm going to do this in 4 parts because it's a bit overwhelming. I mean, if I do it in 4 parts, and that's 1 DVD at a time, and we might be more likely to actually remember what we saw because it was more recent, right? So it makes sense to me to do it this way. So anyway, we're haplogroup D, really. We're haplogroup, boy, I must have been really tired when I was writing this. Really from Siberia, or did they spread up from South America? Okay, so the it's believed right now, my food coloring hands from the eggs, that the people of North America, they came across the Bering Strait from Siberia, and some believe they came in 3 groups, 3 waves or whatever. But anyway, it's a little bit ridiculous, really. If you think about it rationally, you know that the Polynesians were really getting around on not very sophisticated boats. So why not the people who came to North America? Why, if they came at all, honestly? Because honestly, I wonder, I am not so convinced in the theory that everybody came from Africa and spread. And it's possible. I don't know. But I'm not so convinced of it. I can't see why there are different species of monkeys and apes and different primates all over the place, and they're not necessarily related. Like they weren't descended from the same necessarily, were they? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not absolutely convinced about it. I think with genetic testing that'll help a little bit, but I'm thinking, isn't it possible that the Mayans and other South American people were here first and then spread to Mongolia? I don't see why not. I mean, that's just me. So, for me, I look at the people who are, like, what, the Yanomamo or something? They look really different. And the, say, Aborigines of Africa look really different. And
Did you mean Australia? Or?
I meant Australia.
Well, Aborigine just means
yes, but I'm glad you caught that, because that was what I meant, and
Yeah.
it would have been saying a whole different thing. So, but they look really different. And people from, I mean, Asian people, there's similarities, but I mean, there's some serious differences too. And why not? I think it's great that we're merging as one species now, but I mean, the Neanderthals were considered a different species that bred with Homo sapiens, and I'm glad for it, because I think both of us have some Neanderthal in us.
could be.
That's fine. Anyway. But I don't see why everybody has to come from Siberia and then from Africa originally, or anything like that. I don't see why that's necessary. Why not everyone coming from South America and then spreading to Siberia and then spreading honestly, I don't see why not. Anyway, maybe I just don't know enough about archaeology to really comment on this. But
No, it's not really archaeology. Right? What that is biology. It's genetics, right? And where they've got D dominant, I don't have a problem with it being down in South America. Once you make it down there and establish yourself, no one's going to want to go down there. It's really miserable. With the rain, it's cold. So they're not going to fight over it, for it. Same sort of thing that once the Eskimos or Inuit make it up to the north, no one's want to go up there and fight for it, except Europeans, because they can kind of. Europeans, when they went in there, because they've got ways of handling the cold, but it's not worth fighting for. But that D thing, that's where it's found is in the northwestern part of North America and the southern part of South America. There's not nearly so strong a pattern in between. What happened there? That's supposed to have been the original marker, right? And they're not explaining why it's different in the middle. Now then, when we look at the three-wave theory of languages coming over, the last is Eskimo or Inuit, whatever is politically correct and whatever administration you're in. It's different in the United States than here. The problem is they have a group coming over first and then a group coming over in the middle. And where they're located is up in that area in northwestern North America, where the D is supposed to have survived. Do you remember there was a D up in Alaska?
I don't remember.
Well, that's where it was strongest, up in Alaska.
He has maps, so you can pause and really look into it if you're interested, and it's very interesting.
Alaska and then the southern part of South America.
Yeah.
Well, the most recent people to come in, aside from the Eskimo, up in Alaska. Now, the way they're cheating is they say, oh, okay, it's also in the eastern part of Siberia, the D thing. And it is there, but not nearly as strong. What happened there? There's something freaky happening. When we look at the languages, those languages up in Alaska are different. It looks there as though they're most closely related to a group of people in the middle of Siberia, not in the eastern part of Siberia.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's something wacky going on there. Now, we could posit a group of people that were sitting there that were overwhelmed by people with a different language, but who were a minority, would have this weird tonal language that were related to the languages in
It's interesting to listen to this from
Siberia.
like your with your background in linguistics and stuff. To
well, that's what we're
notice
studying.
that too, right?
That's
Oh,
what I
really?
work on in the
Yeah.
summertime.
Yeah.
Is this group of languages. They're called the Na-Dene languages, found in Alaska, Yukon, Northwest Territories, northeastern British Columbia, northwestern Alberta. That's the language group that's supposed to have been dominant around the Grand Prairie area. When the whites were moving in, the beaver. They're called Tene, Za, and Pa, depending on how you pronounce that last name. That's more like their name for themselves. And but they're also the Sarsi or Tsutina around Calgary. And then the Navajo and the Apache, various Apache groups, Lipan Apache, Western Apache, Jicarilla, and so on and so forth in New Mexico, Texas, and Nevada. So there's something wacky going on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because what that means is the linguists are probably disagreeing with the archaeologists, or despite what this guy said, are probably disagreeing with the biologists, which means the story is not the right one. What they're trying to do, what this guy's trying to do is say it agrees with their story, and it doesn't. When you look at the maps of these various biological markers that was flashing on the screen, they don't agree with the linguist story. They don't agree with the archaeologist story. They really don't. There's something wacky going on. Their story doesn't hold together, and I've seen it happen again and again and again. Like with carbon-14 not agreeing with Egyptology and the chronology of Egypt. And the big trouble is everyone gets together and comes up with a narrative that they don't even think they can sell it. They know they can, because they're the head honchos. So the Egyptologists stomped all over the radiocarbon reading people and got them to conform. And that's what's happening with the archaeologists. They're getting the biology people, because they're the new kids on the block, to conform to their story. And this is a bad sign, bad development. What am I saying? It's a sign. It's what goes on all the time. Every discipline. The old kids on the block beat up on the new kids on the block. Well, they don't even beat up on them. The new kids just knuckle under before they get beaten up. But there's some sort of weird story that no one's got right so far. And it's behind this biological stuff. It happens every time.
Yeah, they'll find it with the genetic stuff now, I think. I mean, it's pretty hard to...
Well, you see, the big trouble is, what we've got there is a static map. Those genetic markers don't come with you pointed it out, they don't come with an arrow on them, pointing in a direction. They're not a compass. So you're reverse what they're saying, right? And it's perfectly legitimate to do. It's not legitimate. It should be done. Every one of their assumptions about directions and so on and so forth, I'm talking about archaeologists, linguists, on and on it goes, have to be questioned, right? Because there's no direction markers on those things. And any intelligent person, you picking up on it right away as it was going, as it was flying. You were saying it could go this other way. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't forget.
Well, I'm creative. It just happens with me. I can't help it.
And of course, I was thinking the same thing, at the same time.
Oh, and there's all these sites that he's saying there's 1,300 or 13,000 year old sites, 800 year old sites and stuff in my notes here. But they're all contested, and I think it's pretty clear. There are some things like with the white guys who were, what was that guy's name? He had a really bad name. George
McJunkin? He was a black slave.
Former slave. And he
turned
found this
into a rancher. He actually owned some land, weirdly enough. That was on his land up there.
Oh, yeah.
Impressively.
Well, he found this, it wasn't a bison, it was like a
super bison.
Super bison.
25% bigger than
and yeah.
modern
And
bison.
it had a spear thing in it.
I think it was I can't remember if it was a Folsom or a Clovis Point.
I don't know, it had something in it.
It had a spear head, like
Yeah.
a big
The big one.
I call it an arrowhead, but it's really spearhead.
The huge
They're,
ones,
you know,
yeah.
be this big.
So anyway, it had one of those in it. And this thing, it has this huge hump on it, right? It looks different than a buffalo.
Those humps look like a stegosaurus or something like that.
Incredible.
The humps on
So,
dinosaur.
I mean, the guy, he's looking at it and he's like, this is not a buffalo. And so he's looking at this thing and he knows. He's not, but the
I didn't know what a
people who
buffalo
are
was. This is a
educated
long
in the
time
field,
ago.
they're like, no.
At the Smithsonian, there are two bozos, and their names should forever live in infamy.
Yeah, we
but
should
I've
remember
forgotten
them
their names.
just because
I think
they were
someone was,
such idiots.
Well, one guy was
Because
from
it was
Europe,
obvious
right?
this was
Checked
not
on
a
him.
buffalo.
The other guy was very much, I think it was William Smith or something. Not Will Smith, but he's more of a joke than Will Smith is when he's aiming
joking
to be
around.
a joke. Yeah. So I don't know if it was that name.
And there's
But anyway,
some,
these bozos were saying he made it up.
yeah. But
Wow,
it
you make
was-
up these bones.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
basically, you'd
yeah,
have to say
wow.
that you're just inventing that because they look
What a
completely
story.
different.
Yeah, so these are the big experts. And I understand they have their modern day counterparts who they're taking
Who are
things that
doing the
should
same
be
sort of
obvious
thing,
and they're
yeah.
crushing stuff. They're crushing
Yeah.
innovation. There's all sorts of bozos out at our university. And our university is just a small drop in this ocean of ignorance. Of academic ignorance, I should say. There's all sorts of different types of ignorance. And they're crushing innovation, and they're crushing creativity.
Well, I suppose that's good. I'm cold.
Oh, there's some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dosa for you to try. Anyway, I should mention the Paisley case. So that was in Oregon, and there were 200 fossilized poops, and I guess they called them something special. I don't really care because I'm never going to study.
Coprolite, which is that's probably. I wonder if that's a proper term for it. Copro means poop, and light means rock poop.
Yeah,
I think that's the term he's using.
and they're really old.
That's better applied. I think, to-
14,300-year-old poops.
Yeah, I get it's probably a little bit.
So they found 200 of them, and now there's a bunch of people contesting that they're even human poop. I don't know.
It should be able to tell.
Should be.